This is the School of Business podcast. And what would you do if you were offered a CTO position at a company doing $5 million a month? You'd probably say yes, right? Well, today's guest, Max Forbang, turned down that exact offer to go off on his own and start his very own agency. And now he helps agency owners all over the country book sales basically on autopilot using AI. I personally really enjoyed this conversation, and I think that you will too. Sit back and enjoy the show.
I'm happy to be on here, Danny. You say you're a fucking stud. You said you're just a young buck trying to kill it like us. So
Trying to make it work one day at a time. I'm sure you know how it,
yeah,
I'm sure you
yeah,
know how it is.
100%. What have you been like? What have you been doing? Like, what's your main gig here?
Yeah, so like I'm in the early stages of starting a video marketing agency. Like I'm still doing free work for local
Yep.
businesses, so still, trying to build up the skills. But I'm really excited because it's the first time that like it's something I actually enjoy doing. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because like
100%.
I've tried things
Yeah.
before, and this is the first thing that I'm like, all right, I think this is it.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like you actually feel pulled to do it as opposed to like you're forcing yourself. Are you doing
exactly.
like YouTube content? What kind of content video marketing are you doing for these businesses?
Yeah, so right now it's pretty much just YouTube.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
like it's terrible because I've only posted one video in like early January because I've been
Yeah.
so like to be honest, like I'm doing way too much like between the
Yeah.
podcast and the YouTube. But yeah, it's gonna be YouTube. Uh and I'm gonna start ramping that up now that I have a clearer idea of the direction I'm going.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah,
makes
dude,
sense.
YouTube's crushing it. YouTube is absolutely crushing
Yeah.
it. I like it's crazy because like I underestimate how much content, like first of all, YouTube, yeah, insane, but just content in general. And I feel like a lot of agency owners kind of underestimate it because everyone needs to be making content, having online presence. Like I've never made content for like formally for my business. I've been saying it's one of those things where you say you're gonna do it for like the last year and then you never do it. And then
Exactly.
the best lead magnet I ever got was this YouTube B2B YouTube content agency basically DM'd me and they're like, "Hey, we'll literally make you a free video." And obviously, like they vetted me to make sure, like they asked me what my MRR was and all that shit, because like that's a pretty expensive lead magnet just to give
Yeah.
away someone for video. So they hopped on for an hour and asked me about my business, like what script I wanted to do, like everything. And they literally created a whole script for me, everything. And then they were like, "Yo, just record the video and send it to us, and we'll edit it and everything for free." And I still haven't had time just to sit down and edit it. I think it's like a mental block or something.
Right.
But like it crushed because I saw the YouTube content agencies just like giving away free videos, and I saw this one person in my email. So like this is the best outbound actually I've ever seen. So I run an outbound agency, and these guys like I was like, holy shit, this is like better outbound than I run, and I've been doing outbound for 2.5 years.
And was
And
it
it
just a
was
cold email?
basically it was a cold email, but like they broke every rule in the book. So like you're not supposed to send pictures in cold emails, none of that. Like you're supposed to send plain text, you're gonna land in spam. This guy sent me a big ass photo, and it's just a picture of me, like a thumbnail, like a little YouTube thumbnail with like a hook and a YouTube script, like a picture, and it said max.png, and I was like, "Yo, Max, I saw you do, pay per appointment lead gen. You guarantee 20 meetings in 60 days or your money back. Awesome, love that. I got a YouTube idea for you." Bam, dropped the video on me or the picture. I was like, "Dude, this is the best app I've ever seen." In my mind, since I'm like a go-to-market engineer, I'm like reverse engineering, like how this guy make this, like that he used AI to scrape this, and then like I'm like, dude, you're a fucking wizard. And then I texted him that I said, dude, this is awesome, like this is impressive. And he's like, yeah, I know it's great, but like it took a while to make. It's very timely, like it costs a lot of time. And I was like, what, you didn't automate this? Like you literally sat there and like went on my LinkedIn, and he told me he had his buddy make the thumbnail, send it back. He manually typed on the freaking email to me, and I was like, wait, that's like above and beyond. But that's what people are doing, like crazy lead magnets. I think like if you follow Daniel Fazio, he says that like pretty much when you're trying to start an agency, whether it's YouTube content, digital marketing, I do cold email, like whatever, LinkedIn outbound, SEO, like you name it. Pretty much, it's like you're an internet scammer by default unless proven otherwise.
Hmm.
So
Like
like
that, you
until
start
you
out.
have so
Yeah.
yeah, like because you have no testimonials, you don't have any social proof. You have to work for free, and even like Hermosi says, it's like if you work for free and they still say no, there's a hidden cost, right? Because sometimes even working for free, like spending their
Yeah.
time and their reputation, especially if it's like something like content or LinkedIn, you're giving them access to your LinkedIn account, like
Oh
that
yeah,
is a hidden
especially then,
cost.
especially if you're giving them like
Yeah,
access to stuff like that, right? Like
your CRM,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
because like it's like yeah, I mean, I could get it for free, but like there's a tail end risk of me losing reputation, losing time versus like I'll just pay a couple $1,000s to someone who has like 10 testimonials on their site. Like, sure, I'll pay $3,000 and like they're going to guarantee me a result anyways. So it's like really hard to break into the agency space. But like once you get going, you get going. Like when it rains, it pours, So it's like you feel like you do nothing for 2 years, 3 years, some people, 6 months, some people longer, 5 years. But then like you just hit a breaking point where like it just like fits and like the niche doesn't find you, like you don't find the niche finds you, is like I what to say, like I like to say it a lot, and it's like one day you can wake up like, oh, I do this very specific niche thing for this vertical that like I never thought I would have done because like I just happen to be kind of good at this thing, and like my network kind of like just fell into this, my marketing just fell into this kind of avatar, and now I'm just like they referred me, now I guess I'm doing chiropractors, or like I guess I'm doing, AI lead gen for marketing agencies, like that's kind of what happened to me. So like it's
That's
just
what I was gonna
interesting. I
ask. I
think
was
everyone
gonna
has their own
ask
journey.
is like,
Yeah.
what happened with you? How did you end up to where you are now?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. So like just a background of kind of like my skill set, and I've always ever since. So I follow a lot of like uh obviously agency high ticket client, high ticket client acquisition people. Like Charlie Morgan was on the first, and he derived all this stuff from Sam Ovens, and he says you don't want to fit yourself, you don't want to have the market fit around your skill set. You want to have your skill set fit around the market. And when I first started, I was like, I want to do web design, and I want to, I don't know, I'm going to figure out like something that I can do that I like to do that other people will pay me for. But that was the wrong frame because, like, yes, I had the vehicle, like web design, but I was trying to like fit it onto an avatar that didn't need web design, right? I was like reaching out to plumbers and like roofers and like, hey, dude, I'm sure that would have, web design for roofers. I'm sure there's a bunch of agents that do that, but like just the way I went about it wasn't thinking of them. So basically, like I'm a software engineer, like that's my background. I went to school for that. And I was doing all this coding stuff, but I wasn't getting any clients. The clients I got were my dad let me build his Airbnb website for like the vacation booking site, and my like corporate job. I somehow convinced them to like let me do their marketing site and pay me like basically a bonus. It was kind of like it was kind of like bogus because like they taxed and everything, but like I convinced them to give me money, like extra money for the site, but like I couldn't get clients myself. So it got to a certain point where my, I was like really just trying to be an entrepreneur. I didn't care how I made money. I was like, I'm just gonna do this. I don't care like what it takes. And my dad had this problem of Airbnbs, and I made like an admin panel for him, and I like connected the smart home locks and like made a whole like web app and like booking portal and like connected all it. And I went to this vacation rental conference called the Vacation Rental Management Association International Conference in Orlando in 2023. Like this is like the Super Bowl of that industry. There's like 6,000 people there. Like this is like the conference. I've never been to a business conference, and my dad didn't even come. Like he was still in Virginia. I flew to Florida for this because I just really wanted to like become big in this industry, and this is the niche that I landed in, right?
How old were you
So
at
I
this
go
point?
this I was 23.
Okay,
I was 23. Yes, it's like a year after college.
got it.
Um, and like that whole year before that, I just like been saving in my mom. I was literally coding in my mom's basement. I would just like go to work 9 to 5, and I would 5 to 9 just code, like building the vacation rental site, building random websites. Like before AI coding agents were a thing, I was punching it manually, like just like I knew it was gonna pay off, and it is. because that compounds, you know? So I'm there at this conference and I spend 3 days, bro. 3 days with a freaking notebook, going around networking, learning every single PMS, property management system in the entire industry, what vendors work together, like how inventory worked. I knew like more about vacation rental management than like 95% of human beings on the planet after those 3 days. And I went to my dad. I remember I spent 8 hours making his business plan with all the softwares combined into one like beautiful plan. It was like a 12-week plan. And I bought the book, the 0 to 500 properties in 5 years. I bought vacation rental management marketing. I went to all the different talks. I was like, this is the plan, Dad. Month one, quarter one, year one, and then we're going to scale to this, and we're going to have 500 properties. I had the whole thing laid out. And he's like, great job. I love this plan. It's great. It's awesome. And then he goes, how much is it going to cost? I'm like, what do you mean? It's like software. Like these are $100,000 vacation villas. Like, I don't know. I didn't even add it up. It's just so negligible. It's an amount. I didn't even think about it. He's like, yeah, how much is it going to cost? We don't have it. It's not an open checkbook. The things cost money. I'm like, okay, I add up the freaking $20 per month here, $30 per month, price manager, this. Ends up being like $350 a month. I'm like, oh, Dad, it's like $350 and whatever. Let's run the plan. Let's go. And he's like, oh, Mexique. That's what he calls it. He's West African and half Ukrainian, and my mom's Ukrainian. He goes, Mexique. That's too much money. We can't pay that. I'm like, dude, no, you can't. You're kidding me. So like my dream were kind of shattered because I thought I was gonna like build this business with my dad, and I realized I was in the wrong industry. Not only because my dad didn't want to scale and go as big as I did, but also when I was there, I met another guy named Max who was running a cleaning company. He wanted to get into kind of like the vacation rental scene because it's kind of a tangent, industry. He was doing good. He was doing like 30K a month on his cleaning agency, like hiring cleaners and cleaning for people. It was like, honest job, honest business on Go High Level, had the whole thing. And, we're sitting having food after like day two or something of this conference. Like we were the youngest guys there, by the way, like the two youngest guys at this conference. And we just like clicked. Like we were just joking around, dicking around like these little kids. Like we felt like literally teenagers compared to these like 50-year-old like
Yeah.
vacation rental moguls who had like this one guy like 300 properties. Like we're asking people like, yeah, I got like 75 properties in my portfolio, and then people are like vendors who serve like 1,000 properties and like own like half of North Carolina's fucking, OBX, whatever. So we're just like little dicking around, and then we're sitting having food, and I'm telling them about my plans about like this vacation rental software that's going to integrate with all the different PMSs. It's going to have AI responders. Like I had this whole vision for the software I wanted to build to actually like serve the industry. And Max, he just looks at me and goes, bro, you're in the wrong industry. Like, why are you trying to manage vacation house? You should be go build software. Like go do what you're good at.
Dude, that
So that
sounds a lot
combination,
like
yeah,
Hermosi's story. That's what it
yeah,
reminds
yeah,
me of.
exactly. Yeah, Hormozy's he was there in his his corporate
Yep.
job. He's kind of like perfect job. He had it, and he's like he wants to go build a gym.
Well,
Like
what was it?
just
I think it was Russell Brunt. No, was it Russell Brunson?
Russell Brunson.
Yeah. And he looks at him and he tells him pretty much the same thing. Like, you're in the wrong
Yeah,
industry. You should be training people how to do this instead of running gyms yourself. Like, that's what your story
yeah,
reminds me of.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause, I mean, it's just like it's interesting how it works out. 'Cause sometimes people can see out from the outside
Yeah.
looking in better than you can yourself. Sometimes it takes that reflection from someone else to show
Oh,
you.
100%.
Eh, Yeah,
Yeah.
and that combination kind of like decided for me. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go start my own business. Like, I'm not gonna rely on my dad. I'm not going to be pinned to this random, like, my dad just happened to be doing vacation rentals and like I picked it. So I was like, I don't care. I'm just start fresh. So I'm sitting there. I'm a little heartbroken. I'm like, I'm still going to be an entrepreneur. I'm still going to happen, right? Like, I don't care. I don't care how, but it's going to happen. So I'm basically like, I need to decide what my next business is going to be. So I had like a good 2 weeks of just like self reflection, and it basically came down to three different options. So it was like, because it's kind of like getting popular in that time. Like Leah Motley was kind of blowing up, and this like AI automation agency was kind of like this viral thing that's happening. And I remember there's this pivotal moment. I was basically deciding between like I was like I'm a software guy, right? So like it makes sense to start an AI automation agency, duh. But then I saw this video and it said, "Do not start an AI automation agency." I'm
Mm,
like, obviously, that's like the you probably know, like the classic YouTube hook, some contrarian
yep.
like statement, like get people to click, and like it. That was a viral keyword at that point, and it obviously baited me because I'm like, this is literally for me, like I'm deciding to start one or deliberating over it. So I click on it. It's this guy Levi Arola, and basically it's just like the classic YouTube format, and like I've seen so many of them now, but I was kind of new to this when I first saw this kind of format,
Mhm.
where it's like they're comparing business models. And so he's basically going, okay, let's compare, like the three columns where you're like comparing products. It's like the table of products and like the green checks here, then like the red
Yeah,
checks
yeah.
here, and
It's
then
like
like
pro, or
it's like
yeah, I got you.
the pros and cons, right? Like he
Yeah.
was basically breaking it down rationally, like very much just like obviously you can cherry pick whatever features you put on the table, whatever. Like it's what every marketing product or whatever does. But like I was hooked. And basically he was saying that, look, if you start an AI automation agency, then you have to not only do you have to learn AI automations, you still have to get clients to basically serve them and sell to them. So you're learning two skills. You're learning client acquisition and you're learning AI automation service delivery. That's two different things. But if you started a lead generation agency, that is client acquisition. So you just learn one skill. You learn client acquisition, and then your service delivery is also client acquisition. You only have to focus on one thing. And just the way he said it just made so much sense to me. And it kind of went back to my days of like trying to do web design and convince plumbers to like let me build them the software. And I was like, if I learned lead generation, then I would never go hungry again. Like I would always have a way to like kind of fend for myself. And then later, if I wanted to start a software company or what is even start an AI mission, which was kind of what I'm doing now in a way, then I could get my own clients. I won't have to rely on anyone. So I kind of took a whole turn and didn't do software at all. I literally started a cold email agency, learned copywriting for 6 months, studied Russell Brunson, didn't touch code, and like learn the fundamentals of like how to write a good cold email. And I think the thing I really liked about it was like, yes, YouTube and at least for me, I'm a very logical person where like I like to like confine the experiments and like limit the amount of variables so I can control, the case that I can control and know what variables to switch and
Right. So
how
like
things are affecting each other.
you see a little bit of some results or proof, right? And then based on the new information that you collect, make adjustments and tweaks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
exactly.
Okay.
Like I don't want to guess.
Right.
I want it to be a math equation. I want to know like, okay, if this, then that, right? Two plus two equals four objectively. I don't have to guess. I can just use my rational brain. And obviously, like there's a lot of like creativity involved with creating video assets, picture assets. Like, and there's still creativity involved with like copywriting. All marketing is like qualitative and creative, right?
Mhm.
At the end of the day. Um, but this was the least amount. It's like this is the most systematic form of marketing I could find where it was like it's just plain text emails, literally. So the way he described it was it doesn't matter if you're sending DMs, if you're sending cold emails, if you're sending pigeon carrier envelopes, the messaging is the same. It's fundamental. How can you basically just use words to attract attention and get somebody to stop what they're doing, have a relevant offer, and get them to like a stimulus that actually gets them to take action. And that was like the basically like the purest training ground, I guess you could call it, for me to like learn the fundamentals of marketing. Um, and then once I did that for a couple months, I kind of like started to itch more and more. I was in this, obviously, I bought a mastermind. I spent money for a course to actually learn this stuff and code email. And I've always found that like courses, really the main reason you buy a course is not to learn the thing. I've probably spent 90 plus percent of my money, like free money that I've earned after tax on mentorships and coaches and masterminds, like literally every single dollar I've earned. And then the rest is just like protein and like bare sustenance and like whatever roof over my head, but like everything else just invest in myself. I like the Alex Hormozy, like, don't invest in S&P 500, invest in S&P 500. Like that's one of my
I
favorite
love that.
sayings.
Yeah.
I always give my boys shit for that and my family shit for that because like they're like, oh yeah, get to put the $400 a month in the stock. I'm like, no, I'm gonna buy a freaking course and learn how to double my income and then just 3x it in a year. Why would I 5% it over 40 years? And like I don't know, but I'm just a very like ambitious person, I guess, or risky person. My mom calls me a risky person. I think it's just like makes sense.
Yeah.
But basically, I was in this mastermind for cold email, and we're learning copywriting. I'm deliberating with these people. We're kind of learning the fundamentals. But and then I started to itch again for the software and the AI and like what I obviously went to school for. And like the thing that really interested me in this whole space was the AI response, like the speed to lead, like having AI respond very quickly on the email, and also using AI to qualify and filter contacts and make personalized messages. Like that was just a brand new thing when I first started the cold email space in the industry at the time, was like using AI. Like GPT just came out like a year ago, right?
Right.
And the API was very like in its early stages, wasn't very mature yet. It was very hard to get it to do what you wanted to do. There's no structured output. It was just like kind of just like shooting a shotgun and in the dark, and like hopefully it was a good output, right? And the prompting was not very sophisticated. The models now, like you can get to do whatever you want, like pretty much 99% of the time. But back then I was like, I want to figure out conversational AI in marketing. I want to figure out marketing automation. And that was kind of like where this journey led me, was like, how can I automate like the beginning stages of prospecting and lead generation? The part that like when someone asks a question, it's just FAQ. 80% of the time it's like a FAQ. It's like just the call to action you try to get them to do. And it's like, yeah, send me the thing. You can have AI respond in 30 seconds. And how I view it is that AI is not there to replace, right? It's not there to replace the human experience. It's not there to like replace jobs even. I don't believe that. I believe AI is there to enhance. And the way I use AI, at least my philosophy with conversational AI within like marketing automation, is we're using AI to make the interactions more relevant and happen at a faster cadence, so then we can get to humans interacting faster, right? We want to get this person has a solution, this person has a problem, and they belong together. They need to be talking, right?
Right.
And AI is here in the middle to help filter and qualify both sides. Like we want to remove the fluff from both sides. We don't want buyers talking to people for solutions they don't need, and vice versa. We want to find the people that need a solution and the people selling it, and then connect them in a way that's very natural, that they don't even care if it's AI or not. Like if they could have a genie lamp and press, just rub the lamp and they're talking to a person that has the thing they want, even better, right? Like this instant gratification. This is just a vehicle to do that. It's just connecting humans in a more relevant way. That's how I view it. And I think a lot of people view AI as like replacing people, or like, it's not about doing less. It's not about having the same result with less. It's about using AI to leverage and do things you couldn't do otherwise.
Do
So
you
that kind of led me
think
here. And yeah,
do you think instead of replacing jobs, it's going to be more of whoever can prompt AI better and get it to do what you want it to do over time? It's like, do you think that's going to become the new jobs, if that makes sense?
that's basically in a sense what it is, right? And
Right.
it's basically like AI is just a technology, right? It's just like the printing press, the car. It's just a useful piece of technology. It's the history repeats itself and fundamentals never change. There are certain principles that are timeless, right? And technology, those who can adopt technology and use it to leverage society in better ways will be the ones who get rewarded, right? So, and in a sense, you could say you're displacing the people who don't adopt that technology, like kind of like glass half full. But in another sense, you could say, no, we're actually increasing the capacity for other jobs to appear, right? So, like, when the horse and buggy, the car came around, you could say it displaced all of the the chauffeurs or the chariot drivers, whatever you call them. Or you could say, no, we actually created gas stations. Now we have people running gas stations. And it's a higher leverage thing because now a human being's not sitting there, you know, just whipping a horse on a cart. Now you have a human who's managing a oil pipeline infrastructure for a gas station. Like it's like one person at a control panel managing giant trucks. It's one, you just need one person in the gas station to manage this entire thing that can power hundreds of cars in a hundreds of mile radius versus like you have one human being that powers two people in a cart, right? It's like we're just creating leverage for individual human beings to do things, right? So now we get to the problem of turtles all the way down, where it's like at what point does it become so much leverage that there's not enough work to do, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's when we start to redefine what work is, where we have this notion that everyone needs to work, right? Or like it's just how it's always been done, right? People work, we get paid for it, 8 hours a day. Where did 8 hours a day come from? Where did this idea of work come from, right? It was a survival necessity for us. And, now we're kind of out of the era of survival, like technically, and I don't want to get like, any political or it's too socialist or anything, but like just objectively, if you look at it, like the resources we have and leverage we have as a collective combined, we could have solved world hunger 10 times over if we wanted to, right? So
Yeah.
like it's not about survival anymore. Now it's more about kind of like it's more about really our ego and our pride as a society. And it's more about like our legacy we're trying to leave. That's really why we're working. It's a survival, but it's not a physical survival. It's a mental, emotional, like kind of psychological survival within like the social hierarchy. Like that's what we're surviving. Now we're trying to like we're like that's what we're really working for. But if you look at the like objective leverage that AI is going to create, where you kind of look at it, we can have a world where we have basically Wally, where no one has to work. And what does that mean? Does that mean that we now create jobs for the sake of having jobs so that people have a work to do so they get paid? No, that's a waste of human resources. Why would we have people do things for the sake of nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're at a place where we can actually have like in theory, a utopia in a sense where no one has to work. We have robots doing all the menial labor. We have robots growing food. We have robots like managing the solar panels. We have unlimited energy. We've created all these things where like that could be a beautiful use of human collective resource combined together. But if we stay in this like competitive frame against like our fellow man, and we're thinking we got to have more and better than other people, then we're not going to allow that kind of like lights to come through as a society, where we're able to just like all leverage it in a holistic way. Like what's the best use of this technology that benefits the biggest holistic collective, right? So it is kind of a catch-22, because the people who have the power to use it in that way are the ones who control AI, who are really good at AI, can use and can leverage it, and they kind of decide, right? So it
Yeah.
is kind of like a Star Wars, Spider-Man, great power comes great responsibility. So, it's you can't force those with the power to give it up. That's not how it
And
works.
that's the
Like they have to
thing.
do it
That's the
themselves.
thing. And you can make an argument, and like you said, we don't want to go too. I don't want to go too political, but like
Hmm.
the people in power benefit a lot more when it is the way it is. When everyone's working, has a job. Uh, Take it how it is. But I mean, do you think it's ever going to change?
I think there's a world where no one has to work, right? There's
Yeah.
still going to be people with more and less. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong. That's just the dominance hierarchy. Like that's just the natural way of society. Like it's impossible to make everyone equal because everyone's not equal, right? Like at a like from objective material sense of when we're talking about financial value, right? Like everyone's equal, has an equal soul, and is equally blessed in the eyes of the universe or God or whatever you want to call it. But not everyone's equal in the marketplace, right? When we can see that just looking around, right? There's different values of what other people are willing to pay of their own hard-earned time in order to receive whatever value you're providing, right?
Hmm.
Because again, it's just It's a system. It's a systemic thing. It's not like there's some arbiter saying this is worth this much and you must pay this and you must hire this person. Like, no, everyone is just of their own free will doing what they're willing and value to do that other people agree to. And I really like the book Atlas Shrugged. It really places like it really touches on this like idea of what is money, what is value, what does it mean to have someone work and spend their time, which is the only valuable thing in their life is their time. That's what people say time is money. Like if you're spending your time to acquire this resource, let's say there's no money, there's no currency, it's just we're just bartering. And there's people that grow potatoes, there's people that, weave baskets. Our currency is our time. How much is my basket worth to your potatoes? That is the fundamental kind of like objective value we're talking about when we say financial value. And I think there's going to be a world where the financial value, like the arbitrage between what people actually need to do to actually sustain their physical body and not like starve, and the amount of leverage they have as an individual human being is going to be so high that you really don't have to work anymore. There's never going to have to be a necessity to work. Now that gets a caveat because now you get people that are like, oh, now we should have the right to not work. Now hold on. You can't jump to that conclusion and just jump there. It has to happen naturally as a result of the collective coming to that place together, right? Because as soon as you start to force another human being to now give up some of their time or power or energy for some moralistic reason, right? Then that's actually impeding their rights, right? So it
Yeah.
has to like when we talk about free will and like goodness is only coming from someone's freedom to choose to do that. It's never a government or a higher authority forcing you to be good because that wouldn't be good. That would just be being told what to do, right? So I believe I'm an optimist. I believe that we're gonna have a world where AI is doing our manual labor. We are, we're all singing "Kumbaya" on the beach, barefoot, and playing guitar, and it's all great and fun. I think a lot of people are kind of worried about AI taking their jobs and this and that and the other, and people are scared. There's nothing to be scared of. I think it's just people got to understand what this technology is, and it's no different than any other technology out there.
I mean, you're totally right. Because think about it, like what, 20, 20 whatever years ago, the internet just came out, right? So this isn't the first time this century we've had a crazy technological advancement like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and I think we don't even know what's going to happen in 50 or 100
Man, because
years.
like you said, it's
There's
going to
like,
keep compounding, Like already
hmm
this year, they've advanced more in AI than I think all of 2024, at least, I think. Something like
I
that.
think yeah. There's a kind of concept in computer science called Moore's law, right? And
Moore's Law?
Moore's law basically Moore's
Okay.
law, yeah, Moores. And basically, it was computer scientists kind of predicted that every 4 years we would double the amount of storage and computational power inside of a single chip. And that was back in the 70s or 80s, I forget, like somewhere in the late 1900s, where he predicted this. And Moore's law was true. It's been holding true ever since, where the size of a transistor stayed the same, but then we had double the amount, or like a computer chip, we had double the amount of transistors and double the compute, double everything every 4 years. So it's like this exponential curve doubling every 4 years. And now with AI, we're actually seeing like almost Moore's law, but even faster. It's not every 4 years, every 6 months. Every
Wow.
6 months since like GPT or like the late not 2010s, we've just seen a doubling in computing power for AI every 6 months. And we see, I mean, GPT 4 point, what was it, 4, GPT 4 when it first came out in 2022 versus GPT 5.2 versus Cloud Opus 4.6. I'm probably sound like a CP3O to some people in the podcast, like the listed models, but like
Hey,
every
you know
model that
what?
comes out just so much better.
If you don't know this stuff by now, you're starting to fall behind. I mean,
Dude, I mean, we're young, so we understand that. I was at a founders meetup in Miami last week, and one of the kids, he's 22, bro. He's killing it. He's getting into the agency space, like he's just starting out, and he was kind of doing the same thing I was doing. So we clicked. I was like, oh, another AI lead gen agency, like in Miami. It's like one of the first people I ever met. To be fair, I don't like go to a lot of founders meetings and stuff. I'm just kind of like glued to my computer because whatever. Um, so it wasn't that serendipitous, but still, I was like, this is crazy. And he basically asked me, he was like, dude, like, I don't know, man. Like, do you think AI is saturated? Like, do you think the space is saturated? Like, I feel so far behind. Like, I was like, bro, no, like we haven't even started. And I saw this fact somewhere. I think Nick Sarov posted this. He's a really good lead generation kind of influencer in the AI space for lead generation. He said 81% of people. Okay, here's the statistic. It was only 3% of people are using AI, know about AI tools, like good AI tools. 16% of people have used AI tools, but like the shitty ones that like people just wrap and just like overcharge. And then 81% of people have never even used AI. And I was
Wow.
like, okay, this is like we haven't even started. Like if you are implementing AI for people right now, like you will be the market mover. Like you will be leading the charge because there's a whole horde of people behind us that don't even know what GPT, how to use it, whatever, are scared to use it, that like they just need help implementing. There's always like a gap when a new technology comes out between the early adopters versus the people who are kind of late to the game. There's always a gap right here where like these people can just kind of hold the hands of these people, string them along and say, hey, here's how you use the tool. Here's GPT. Let me install the software for you. And then like help them adopt the software. And that's where the service comes in. That's kind of like this, the whole service business model. Same thing with like YouTube content, right? Or like any kind of agency. It's basically like there is this tool, this technology, this activity you can do as a business that will help you leverage what you're already doing in a more efficient way, whether that's making content, using AI, automating your administration, whatever it is, lead generation. But this business is hasn't adopted it yet, and they just need someone to just do it for them, do it with them, or teach them how to do it. And most of them don't want to learn how to do it because they don't even have time. So they'll have someone do it with them, or really ideally have someone just do it for them. That's where the service comes in. Agency will always have a space. Whatever technology comes out, the agency business model will always exist. That's my prediction because there's always going to be businesses that sell pottery and teacups and Pilates and whatever. They have their product and they don't have time to do anything but craft their product. Because as we know, business is, yes, it's the skill or trade that we do. But then if you read like a book like E-Myth Revisited, like people who own a cupcake shop, you'll see that they're really good at making cupcakes, but they're not good at the marketing, the sales, the customer support, the systems of running a team, hiring, like these four core pillars around every business. Every business has these core four, right? Around that revolve that keep that center product or service afloat. It makes it even possible for this to exist, to even show up in front of people, to even give them their money to acquire that product or service. So like that is what a business owner is. A business owner is knowing those four pillars around the product or service to actually deliver on that the thing in the center. So most people are don't want to become a proficient at marketing, sales, customer support, and systems in order just to fulfill that product or service. Most people just want to focus on the product or service and be an employee for another business that has those things covered for them, right? That's easier. It generally is easier because you're learning one skill as opposed to five.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But there's always going to be room for the agencies that handle the marketing, the sales agency, the customer support agency, the operations or systems agency that comes in and handles one of those core four for you. And since their business is just doing one of those core four pillars, they're able to kind of productize it, systemize it in a way where they can kind of like copy and paste it for people similar avatars in a really efficient way. And we have games from trade that are just work out beautifully where it actually makes more sense for most business to hire an agency to do something than try to learn it themselves or hire someone in-house to learn that. So it's a beautiful business model. I think it's always going to be around, and people hating on the internet money. There's plenty of the internet money, internet marketers who just kind of want to show people. But like, if you do a good job and you generally you can make really good money in this space.
So I got a couple questions. Let's say, first of all, I'm looking to hire an agency, right? How am I going to
Yeah.
separate a good one from one of those crappy sales, you know, the junk?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first thing you can do is they just have a no-brainer offer, right? So like we kind of said it before in the beginning, where I mean, it kind of is catch 22. You just find an agency that has done it before, right? They've done it before. They've proven the exact thing you want to do. There's kind of tiers to this, right? So like an agency and a coach, they're kind of in like this parallel universe where they're both, all they're doing is getting you they're giving you a transformation from point A to point B. Agency happens to do it with a service. A coach happens to do it just with like your mindset of just like basically coaching you to do it yourself, but you're still getting from point A to point B. And there's an analogy with coaching that Alex Hormozy talks about. I think it was Alex Hormozy, where he basically said, like, if you're going to hire someone to help you get a result, first of all, you want to make sure like there's tiers. At first, it's somebody they've gotten that result themselves. Have they at least gotten that result themselves? If not, why would I hire them? Like, I'm not going to listen to a fat person to get fit. I'm not going to listen to someone who's broke to know how to make money, right? So if they haven't done themselves, like that's just they're out of the candidate pool, right? But then there's even better tier of they've done it for themselves and they're similar to you, right? They're similar to you because someone could have done it themselves. But maybe their genetics are different, or maybe they live in a different space, or they're a different gender. Like there's all these things that are, like, I don't think those things should hold you back, but like psychologically, there, it can stop people from taking action because they think, oh, that person, they just got it. They're different. That's why they did it. But if they're like you, then it's more likely then that you can also do it too. Okay, so they've done it themselves. They're also similar to you. Also, the next tier is they've taught other people to do it, or they've done it for others, right? Because you can be really good at something. You could be an amazing world class football player, but not a good football coach, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
different skill set to teach something than it is to actually do it yourself, right? So they've done it themselves. They're like you, and they've done it themselves. They've helped other people do it, and then they've helped many other people like you also do it many times, right? So there's multiple tiers of this. And the best way to basically find a coach or agency is you find someone who's as specific as possible to identical to you, who's done it as many times for other people, that basically guarantees you as close as possible that you're going to get the result you want. That's all you can really do is hit the probability of getting it. And that's the criteria. And again, like, you know, that's catch 22 because if you're starting out as an agency, you probably haven't even done it yourself. You probably haven't done it for anyone else. And it's like, how do we get in this space where like we're doing it for people and they trust us? So that's like starting out, that's the thing, that's like the barrier to entry, but it's not a barrier to entry in terms of like capital or like who it's just like, it's just time and skill, right?
Yeah.
You can do it for free. You can convince someone to do it for free. It might even be hard to convince someone to do it for free, but you can do it for somebody for free. At the worst case, you can do it for yourself, right? If you're doing some kind of market, whatever agency you're doing, you can do it for yourself. If it's either lead gen or sales, that'll work. If you're content, you can make content for yourself, and then like that's kind of like your own social proof. But like that is how you find a good agency. You have to. It's just proof not promises. Proof not promises, basically.
I said I had two questions, but you literally just answered my second one, which was going to be
Yeah, I just
like now if you're on the agency side, how do you prove that you're a good option?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'll add on to that because
please.
I feel like when we're talking about being wow, look at that. Just got some good sushi over there.
Oh,
Um, Looking good. So if you're an agency and you're trying to basically convince other people that you're credible, they can trust you, and they should give you their money, essentially, and you don't have any social proof that you've done it for anyone else, there's only one way you can convince them is that you basically have to make it a note. Like, what is the function of social proof? Like, the function of social proof is so that the prospect thinks it's more likely that their outcome is going to get solved, right? If you've done it for that person, probably it makes sense to do it for me too. Like, you've done it already. it's pretty likely. The probability is high. So we can proxy that same effect. We just need to get the prospect to believe that the probability is high. We don't have the social proof mechanism. We can't use that, but we have other mechanisms to do that, right? So how do we do that? We basically guarantee them in legal writing. We say, hey, if we don't do it, we are legally obligated to refund you. That way, in their mind, it's literally 100% probability. I mean, of course, you could run the country and go bankrupt or whatever and never have to pay them, but like legally, the probability is 100% they will get the results or they will not have any pain as a result of working with you. Now, of course, there's still the cost of using their time, risking their reputation, all these things. So as long as that pain is less of a factor than the benefit they're going to get that you've guaranteed for them, then they're gonna choose you. It's a no brainer. And I mean, the value equation from Alex Hormozi, which he kind of derived from Dan Kennedy and John Carter and all these people, like Alex Hormozi basically took all the marketing moguls of like the early 2000s, and he basically just like digested it and like broke it down into like second grade language, where it's
Right.
like you could read $100 million offers and it's like, yeah, like value over sacrifice over times probability versus time, that like that value, it's like very, very much just like broken down into its fundamentals, but it's all the same. There you go. $100 million
Got it right
offers
here.
right there.
Yeah.
All right. If you're an entrepreneur and you haven't read or have $100 million offers, like
Man, what are you doing?
you're not, you're not serious. You're not an entrepreneur. You're playing teacup. You're playing like, you're playing tea party. You're not actually trying to build a business, I think. But yeah, that's what it is. It's like it just has to equal the value equation of like this is valuable in a short amount of time without the sacrifice or the risk. And if you can maximize the top part of that value equation and minimize the bottom, and it gets them over a threshold, then they're gonna buy your product, and then you start to build credibility from there.
So what's the first thing you're doing? We can try to wrap this up. I know you got the sushi.
Uh huh.
Uh,
Oh yeah, I didn't know. That's just fun, dude. This is really fun.
Dude, this is freaking awesome. Like this is literally the type of conversations that I had in mind when I sat down and decided to
Yeah,
start a podcast.
let's go. Let's
So,
go.
all right. What was I gonna ask? Is that the first thing you're gonna do? Is sit down and follow the value equation, or are you gonna, I don't know, go to your next door neighbor and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this for free for you," like without having an offer in mind to try to gain some experience and uh, get an idea of how to think about the offer, or are you gonna jump
Hmm.
right in and try to hypothesize an offer first?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So on a fundamental level, yes, you need an offer. Like you need to offer something that's valuable to give them. Now, the question I think you're asking is, should you kind of like theorize about what the best offer is and spend time philosophizing and deliberating over the perfect offer and then go in the market and try to, or do you just go in and then just provide value to people and then
Mm,
like whatever value you can provide? I think it's both, right? Like it's really when you're starting out and if your goal is just to make money and you're just trying to become an entrepreneur, like you just go out and like you get this mindset of I'm going to help people. Like you like ego is the enemy, right? Like Ryan Holiday, get yourself out of the way. Like literally, like if you're on a sales call, like don't even think about what you want, what you need. Like it's all about the customer. Like what do they need? So in the same kind of like aura, it's like, okay, I'm going out, I'm just trying to help humanity solve problems in whatever way I can. And then you kind of branch out into maybe five or six different skill sets. Your neighbor has a problem, your dad has a problem, your friend has a problem. I can solve it for you. You start to find where you're good at actually solving problems. Now, the key thing is you don't just go and like slam your head on the keyboard and just try to like solve someone's problem. Like the meta skill here is identifying problems and like being able to critically think about like somebody's pain. They might say they have some problem, but like what is the real problem? Like they might say they need one solution, but really like they think they need that because they misunderstand their own problem, right? They might misunderstand their own pain while they're suffering in some way in their business. And your meta skills entrepreneurs to actually go in there and say, no, 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 the real problem you're facing is this. right? You have a lead generation problem, or you have a hiring problem. And then here's like 10 ways we can solve that. Here's the most highest leveraging way to solve that problem. And then you basically implement that's your offer, right? Your offer is the highest leverage thing to solve their problem that's very specific to them. So the only reason why we like $100 million offers, we package this stuff up, right? Is because it's in relation to a very specific problem that an avatar has. So I mean, we're in a world of the internet where you actually can reverse it. Where like there's so many people on the planet where you can actually go down and sit down deliberately, just pick an avatar out of a hat. I'm gonna help female chiropractors. Like just pick a random avatar, right? And then you say, okay, like there's enough female chiropractors on the planet where I can basically like derive an offer that's so no brainer to them, and then go find all the female chiropractors on the US, and I'll have enough business to make, 100K a month or whatever it is you want to make, right? That only works because we live in such a global society. So I think you can do it either way. If you're gonna make an offer, make sure like you actually understand. But the problem is when you're starting on a business, you don't understand problems and you don't understand avatars. So it's actually pretty risky to go try to like create some gift wrapped offer and then go find people who need it. That works for people who've been in business and they've solved problems and they've done it already. Like, oh, you know what? And they can spot offers out of the left and right field and be like, oh, this is a great offer for this avatar. Oh my God. And they package it up, make a funnel, send emails, and then bam, they're making like a bunch of money off of it. But if you never solved a problem or you find an avatar, the best way for you to learn, because remember, it's the meta skill we're trying to learn here. We're not trying to solve any particular skill. We're trying to solve the meta skill of identifying problems. The best way to solve that is to find as many freaking problems as possible and solve as many as you can. And then you will start to kind of gravitate towards the ones that like you understand. And then you can solve any problem you want, basically.
Wow, that's actually really helpful. What did you say again? It's like the core skill is identifying the problems and which problems to solve, really, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's like the meta skill. That's the skill that all the other skills are derived from, because the marketing problem, the sales problem, the customer support problem, the systems problem, your meta skill of identifying the problems in those departments is what's going to help you solve your marketing problem, right? It's not learning generic marketing. It's how do
Mm.
I solve problems, because that's all marketing is. It's like connecting to the attention span of somebody who has a problem that's painful enough for them to stop scrolling, because you've identified that problem in the avatar, and you can now marketing. You're on a sales call. You've identified the meta skill of having their problem on a one-to-one conversation and their body language and how they're reacting emotionally. Like that's the meta skill. Customer support is someone has an issue with their product or service. They say they want this one refund or whatever it is, but really they're just unhappy about something that happened with a particular aspect of the problem. That's the meta skill. How do I identify that aspect that they're actually in pain about, right? So that meta skill of identifying problems, that like you have that one thing, I mean, you'll be, that's the only skill I'm really trying to, anyone's really trying to get deep down. And we kind of mask it with like, we're learning sales and marketing. Yes, we are. We're learning technical skills too, but like the meta skill is, yes, just solving problems. That's all it is, solving problems. And that's what money is basically. That's what value is at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. I mean, would you say that this is a good analogy for it? And like, correct me if I'm wrong, but going into it thinking of yourself as more of a doctor, I guess, than a salesperson. Because the
Yeah.
doctor's there to help somebody. They're there to, the patient might come in and be like, "Hey, my back's hurting. I think it's this,"
Hmm.
right? Your job as a doctor is to, look at your resources and you got the knowledge and be like, actually, here's what I think it is. And then you diagnose the problem and then
Yeah.
prescribe a solution, right?
I love that analogy. Yeah. It's like you're identifying problems, and you're just sitting there listening to them. And if they don't have a problem, and you're a spinal surgeon, like you say you're a neurosurgeon, and they don't have a brain problem, you're not gonna go do surgery on their brain. You're not gonna try to close them and sell them. You're not gonna try something they don't need. And I think a lot of people have this idea that being a salesperson is basically trying to sell ice to an Eskimo. No, you're not trying to sell ice to an Eskimo. You're trying to identify the people that need ice and help them realize if they need ice or not. And if they need it, you sell it to them. It's a very simple thing. And I think that my favorite quote on this in closing is Grant Cardone. He was on an interview with the School of Hard Knocks, and uh, he School of Hard Knocks. He asked him, he goes, Grant, you have the Closer's Survival Guide or whatever book he wrote about closing, and he says, if you had any advice for people in today's world about how to close, people are having trouble closing, what would you say to them? And Grant goes, people got to change their mind about closing. Closing is not, I think, people think closing is, I gotcha. I gotcha. It's like you tricked them, you got them, like you trapped them in the bear trap, like they can't move, they're pinned down like a lion and a gazelle in this event. No, it's when you close somebody, that's the first time you serve them. You've diagnosed their problem as a doctor, and you've given them the prescription they need to get better, to alleviate their pain. You're helping this person. You're not pinning, you're not getting them. You're not doing, you're not hunting them. You're not the Wolf of Wall Street, right? You are a doctor helping them alleviate the problem. And I love that analogy because, sell or be sold, it's like you got to believe in your own product. You got to really believe that what you're doing is helping people. And when you really believe that, and you're on a sales call, and you're trying to sell somebody, as their friend, like if they were your best friend, you wanted to help them out. You feel bad if they don't buy your product. Like you really like because it's gonna like really help their life, and if they don't buy it, like they're gonna be in a lot of pain because of it. Like that, and you can't fake it. You have to genuinely believe that, and I think that honestly is the hardest emotional labor any entrepreneur is gonna go through. Is first of all finding something they truly believe in, and then once they find that thing they truly believe in, then also getting past the emotional barrier of allowing themselves to believe that they're worthy enough to believe in that thing
Hmm.
and that it actually provides value. Because there's two aspects. So you have to find the thing, and you have to also have the emotional capacity to allow yourself to feel that love for the thing and the love for the other person. And it's almost like a spirit, like a philosophical endeavor. Like the more I've gotten into business, the more it's just like I'm learning about myself. And Himosi has this quote of like, you don't have a business problem, you have a personal problem manifesting in the business, because your business is just a reflection of you as a person. And it's going to, like, as you get deeper, you're going to start to uncover problems and blockages, and you're going to realize, look, like, this is an emotional problem I have that's blocking my capacity to connect with another human being, or help another human being, or care about another human being, or maybe take their money. Maybe I'm averse to myself caring for myself, and I feel bad taking people's money. And like, where does that stem from? Where is that emotional psychological trauma coming from, brewing from some thing that in your mind that's blocking you from doing things? That's what you got to work on as an entrepreneur. And then you get that block out, the money flows, right? Like that's the real work, is when you're alone, sitting there meditating, really thinking about why you're doing what you're doing, and then having that manifest in ways that actually reflect in your business.
Max, I think that's a great place to stop.
I love
That's
that.
beautiful.
This has been a fantastic podcast, bro. I appreciate you inviting me on here, brother.
Man, you make the job easy. I'm just like sitting back, chilling, relaxing, learning.
All right, Josh, dude,
Dude,
thanks so much for inviting me on the podcast. We got she wanted me to put this in the frame for
there we
the
go. There
farewell.
we go.
The baby mouse says
Hold on,
hello.
let's take a selfie real quick. Oh,
Yes, take a selfie for the cast.
there we go.
Baby mouse. There we go.
I've never done this before, so I have no clue if it's even gonna look good.
Let's go. All good. Get the good
Let's
frame in
see.
there.
Uh, you can kind of see it. There we go. Ready?
Yes, sir.
It should be good enough. We'll
Sweet.
see.
We'll get an in-person one in Miami
There you
eventually.
go. There you go. Yeah,
Cool.
man, it's been
All
awesome
right,
talking with you.
Josh. Dude, absolute pleasure, bro. We'll talk soon, bro. I'm excited, and thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, man. Have a good night.